Audiobooks and beyond.
The Paradox of the Woods, narrated by Matthew Oliver. The humid air hung heavy, thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. Sergeant First Class Marcus Thorne, a man whose face was a roadmap of forgotten wars, stumbled into the small clearing. He wasn't running from anything he could see, but the sheer, primal panic thrumming in his veins told him the chase was far from over. He hadn't been on a mission, not in years. His life had been simple, a quiet retirement in a cabin on the outskirts of civilization, tending to a vegetable garden and the persistent ghosts of his past. But then came the flash, not an explosion, but a silent, blinding tear in the air that had ripped him from his bed and dropped him here, into a time he didn't recognize. The trees were the same, the sounds of the forest floor identical, but a deep, unsettling wrongness had settled over the world. Then, the pursuit began. He'd first seen the figure on the periphery, a silhouette against the twilight. It was humanoid, a man, but it moved with an unnatural speed, a gliding, relentless gait that seemed to defy the uneven ground. It didn't make a sound. No snapping twigs, no rustling leaves. Just an oppressive, silent approach that was more terrifying than any war cry. Marcus dove behind a large, moss-covered log, his breath ragged. He scanned the clearing. A small, abandoned campsite, a half-collapsed tent, a cold fire pit, and a single, rusted cast-iron skillet. It was all a perfect, eerie tableau of a life cut short. He risked a glance backward and saw nothing. But the feeling was there. A cold hand on the back of his neck, a sudden sharp pain in his pocket. He reached in and pulled out a small metallic object, no bigger than a cigarette lighter. It hummed with a low, vibrating energy, and as he held it, fragmented images flashed in his mind. A sterile, metal room, a woman's face, pale and desperate. A single clear instruction. Find it. Change it. End it. Find what? End what? He didn't know. The device was a key to a memory, a puzzle piece he couldn't place. A new wave of panic washed over him. The figure was getting closer. The humming of the device intensified. He looked down at a map etched on its surface. A single, glowing dot pulsed over the clearing. Here, he was in the right place. His mission was to retrieve something from this very spot, something that could change a future he couldn't remember. He had to move. He began digging frantically with the skillet at the base of a gnarled oak tree, the spot where the glowing dot was brightest. The skillet scraped against something solid. He pulled away a layer of dirt and found a small, circular casing, not unlike the device in his hand. He tried to pry it open, but the metal was seamless. Then he realized the device in his hand was the key. He pressed the first device against the casing, and with a faint click, the casing popped open. Inside, nestled on a bed of fine silver wires, was a second device. This one was a sphere of pure, pulsating light, so bright it was almost painful to look at. Its light illuminated a faded tattoo on his arm, a stylized raven that he hadn't seen in years. Another memory surfaced, not his own, but a premonition. He was told to find this object to stop a catastrophe. A second memory came, this one more chilling. He was told he would not be alone, that he would be pursued. A twig snapped. It was the first sound the figure had made. Marcus's blood ran cold. He clutched the light sphere and spun around. The figure stood at the edge of the clearing, motionless, just out of the reach of the faint moonlight. Its face was obscured by shadow. "Stop!" a voice rasped, broken and hollow. It was Marcus's own voice. His heart hammered against his ribs. He took a step back. the sphere of light casting his face in an eerie glow. The figure stepped forward, its form now a little clearer. It was a man in military fatigues, but they were torn and stained. The face was obscured, but the shape of the jaw, the slope of the shoulders, the way the man held himself, it was Marcus. "Don't do it." The voice rasped again, closer this time. "You can't fix it. It gets worse." Marcus shook his head. "Who are you?" The figure stepped fully into the light, and Marcus saw his own face, older, scarred, and consumed by a terrifying grief he could feel even from a distance. The same raven tattoo was on his pursuer's arm, but it was disfigured by a jagged scar. "I'm you," the figure said, a quiet despair in his tone. "I am the future you're creating. You think this object will save us, but it's a lie. It will seal our fate. It will set us on a path of endless war and suffering. I've lived it. I've seen it." Marcus's hand trembled. The sphere of light seemed to pulse in time with his racing heart. Was this a trick? A hallucination? Or was this the ultimate test? The future he was supposed to prevent was one where he had to go back in time to stop himself from preventing it in the first place. A paradox that was both brilliant and terrifying. "You have to trust me," the future Marcus pleaded, his voice cracking. "Leave the object. Destroy it. Let the timeline reset. Let's stay in the future we know. It's not perfect, but it's better than the one this thing promises." But the images in Marcus's mind, the face of the desperate woman, the feeling of a world on the brink, were so powerful. He had to trust his first instinct. He had to complete the mission. The future Marcus saw the resolve in his eyes. He let out a low sigh, a sound full of a pain that spanned decades. "Then there's only one way to stop you." He lunged, not with a weapon, but with a desperate, heavy force. He was trying to take the sphere, to break the timeline and save them both from a fate he had already lived. Marcus reacted on instinct, a soldier's reflex, and sidestepped the attack. The two men, one in the past and one from a grim future, grappled in the damp forest clearing. It was a silent, desperate dance between two versions of the same soul, each fighting for what they believed was the right future. The past Marcus was younger, stronger. The future Marcus was more desperate, his movements fueled by years of regret. As they wrestled, the sphere of light slipped from Marcus's grip and tumbled to the ground, its light flickering. The future Marcus saw his chance and pushed Marcus back. He raised his foot to crush the sphere, to end the paradox. Marcus, with a newfound understanding of what he was fighting, lunged forward and tackled his future self just as the foot came down. The sphere shattered, not with a bang, but with a quiet, sickening sound like glass breaking underwater. A shockwave of pure energy pulsed out from the epicenter, throwing both men back against the trees. The light faded, leaving the clearing in absolute darkness. Marcus woke with a gasp, tangled in his own bedsheets. The air was cool. The room was quiet. A bead of sweat trickled down his temple as he sat up, his heart still pounding. It had all been a dream. A vivid, terrifying dream. He ran a hand through his hair, his mind racing to make sense of the fragmented images. A woman's face, a raven tattoo, a forest clearing. He was safe, in his cabin, in his own time. He swung his legs out of bed and put his feet on the wooden floor. He reached for a glass of water on his nightstand, and as his fingers closed around the glass, he felt it. A small, metallic object, no bigger than a cigarette lighter, was in his pocket. It hummed with a low, vibrating energy. Today, the pursuit had not yet begun.